Amora had always thought she was in control. 7 times before, she had ended pregnancies without blinking, each one swept away like it never existed. But the 8th, it clung to her like a curse. Pills failed. The herbal mixtures only made her sick. Even the backstreet clinic, with its cold tools and whispered warnings, couldn't rid her of it. Her belly grew. And so did the fear. By the time labor came, it was too late to run. She was rushed to hospital, screaming through clenched teeth, sweat soaking her dress. The doctors thought it would be 1 baby, then 2, then 3. They stopped counting at 6. 12. 12 babies, slick, red, crying, alive. The room fell silent, everyone stunned. Amora stared at the rows of tiny bodies, her face pale, her heart frozen. Her lips trembled. This can't be real. But it was. And it was just the beginning. The hospital room was warm, filled with the soft sounds of newborns, whimpering, yawning, stretching tiny fingers. 12 of them, swaddled in white blankets, lined up like little parcels of innocence. But Amora felt nothing. No joy, no awe, not even fear. Just emptiness. She sat on the edge of the bed, hair tangled, eyes hollow, staring into space. A nurse leaned in gently. "Shall we call the father?" Amora didn't answer. How could she, when she hadn't a clue who he was? Chloe, her only friend who hadn't yet walked away, pleaded, "Keep at least one. You can't just hand them off like forgotten luggage." Amora shook her head, voice dry. "I can't do this. I never wanted them." She looked at the babies again, not with love, but calculation. She didn't see children. She saw a problem. And one by one, she would solve it, quietly, permanently. The next morning, Amora woke before the sun, her mind already made up. She dressed 2 of the babies in clean little outfits, wrapped them in soft shawls, and tucked them into a carrier bag. No tears. No hesitation. Only resolve. Her first stop was a quiet cul-de-sac on the edge of town. She knocked on a black gate. A man answered, tall, scruffy, confused. His face was vaguely familiar from a forgettable night years ago. "What are you doing here?" he asked, narrowing his eyes. Amora held up the babies. "They're yours." He laughed, bitterly. "From one night. Are you taking the mick? They've got your eyes. DNA if you like." He stared at the children, then back at her. Something shifted in his face, fear, maybe guilt. Finally, he stepped aside. "Put them down." She didn't say thank you. Just left the babies and walked away. 2 gone. 10 to go. Amora's days blurred into a series of cold exchanges. One by one, she visited the men from her past, each encounter a mix of disbelief, awkwardness, and rejection. Most refused, some even turning their backs without a second glance. Only a few reluctantly took the babies, offering no warmth, no sign of fatherly affection. With each rejection, Amora's heart hardened. She no longer cared about the faces staring at her with contempt or indifference. The babies were just parcels to deliver, nothing more. She had lost the ability to feel anything for them, any lingering maternal instinct now buried under layers of cold resolve. She began to move quicker, more mechanically, no time for sentiment. Knock, drop, leave. That was her new routine. Each time a door closed behind her, it felt a little easier, a little emptier. But she didn't care. Amora stood alone, her hands empty for the first time in what felt like forever. The babies, each one a reminder of a choice she never truly wanted, were gone. She had handed them over to strangers, to men who barely recognized their own flesh and blood. In the quiet of the room, the silence was almost deafening. For the first time, she felt what she thought was freedom. The weight, the responsibility, the endless cycle of deliveries, all of it was behind her. She smiled, almost giddily, at the thought of a life without the constant reminder of her past mistakes. But as the hours passed, the emptiness began to settle in. The freedom she had craved felt hollow, as if it had come at the cost of something she couldn't name. Was this really liberation? Or just another form of loneliness, camouflaged as freedom? Amora's life took a different turn in the years that followed. She married wealthy men, each one eager to fill the void she had left behind. Their lavish homes, expensive gifts, and promises of stability seemed like the answer to her troubles. But with each marriage, the past she had tried so hard to escape kept creeping in, lingering in the corners of her mind. Her body, once a vessel for life, now betrayed her. The doctors had a word for it: barren. It was a cruel twist of fate. Despite the wealth, despite the security, she was unable to bear children. The very thing she had once rejected now felt like the one thing that could have given her life meaning. The silence in her house grew louder, and the emptiness in her heart even more pronounced. No amount of money could fill the void left by the children she had given away. As the years slipped by, Amora's body began to change in ways she couldn't control. Menopause arrived, marking the end of her ability to conceive. Her once youthful beauty, which had once turned heads, slowly began to fade. The lines on her face deepened, her skin lost its luster, and the glow she once carried dimmed with each passing day. With the physical changes came an overwhelming sense of loneliness that seemed to settle into her bones. The empty rooms of her mansion were no longer filled with the laughter of children or the warmth of a family. Instead, they echoed with silence. Amora's heart, once so full of hope and ambition, now felt cold and hollow. The womb that had once been a symbol of potential now slept forever, and the woman who had chosen freedom over motherhood found herself trapped in the very emptiness she had once thought she desired. As the years wore on, a deep emptiness gnawed at Amora's soul, one she could no longer ignore. The children she had abandoned, the 12 lives she had given away without a second thought, haunted her in ways she hadn't anticipated. She found herself searching for them, her heart heavy with the weight of her past decisions. She combed through records, tracked down names, and reached out to anyone who might have answers. The world she had once dismissed with cold indifference now felt full of regret. She wondered what they had become, where they were, and if they even knew who she was. Amora's search wasn't just for her children. It was for a connection, for redemption, for a way to fill the void she had spent years trying to ignore. The woman who had once wanted nothing to do with them now found herself longing for their presence in her life. One afternoon, as Amora sat in a sterile doctor's office, staring at the cold, clinical walls, Dr. Felix, an old family friend, gave her a sliver of hope. He told her that one of her daughters, Zara, was still nearby. Unlike the others, Zara had managed to stay close, living only a few miles away. The news struck Amora like a bolt of lightning. Her mind raced, and for the first time in years, a spark of emotion flickered in her chest. Zara. The name echoed in her thoughts, a name she hadn't spoken in so long, yet it felt familiar, like a part of her long buried. Dr. Felix's words ignited something deep within her, a desperate yearning to connect, to seek forgiveness, to find the one piece of herself that had been missing. Could this be her second chance? Amora's heart raced with anticipation as she set off to find Zara. For the first time in years, she felt a sense of purpose, the faintest glimmer of redemption within her grasp. The thought of finally seeing her daughter, the child she had abandoned, filled her with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. But fate, as always, had other plans. Just as Amora was nearing Zara's address, a sudden phone call shattered her hope. Zara had been in a car accident. The words felt like a punch to the gut. Amora's world, which had just started to feel whole again, seemed to crumble around her. She rushed to the hospital, her thoughts a chaotic blur. When she arrived, the doctors were gravely silent, their eyes telling her everything she needed to know. The reunion she had yearned for was slipping through her fingers, and this time, there would be no second chance.